I'm coming with the panelists. Hello from my side. Thank you very much for introducing us. I'm happy here to host the first talk here at Le Book in Berlin, and I'm happy to introduce you to the three panelists sitting right beside me. The first one I'm going to introduce you to is sitting right there. It's all the Berliners know him very well, but not only the Berliners. His name is Andreas Muehe. He was born, as he just underlined before we went on stage, in Karl-Marx-Stadt. In East... Yes, because Karl Marx... he grew up in Berlin. He's one of the rising stars of German contemporary photography. He's been in the business for more than 10 years now. Just had his first solo exhibition in Kunsthalle Rostock. And he works for many prestigious German magazines and newspapers. He also specializes in portraying famous politicians. Some of them we will see in his short introduction later on. Like former Chancellors Helmut Schmidt and Helmut Kohl, but also the still current Chancellor Angela Merkel, who's one of his many admirers. He also did a very well done TV documentary or movie documentary about his father, the late Ulrich Muehe. It's wrong, the biography?
It's my brother.
It's your brother?
Yeah, he's a student at UDK and was the masterpiece last year.
And it was shown at the Berlin Film Festival.
Yeah.
And there's also a sister who's become an actress, very famous in Germany as well. So welcome, Andreas Muehe. Sitting here in the middle is Patrick Marinoff. He's the global brand manager of Maybach, born in Heidelberg in 1972. From 1998, he started his career with Daimler-Benz in the marketing strategy department of Mercedes-Benz. He was member of the planning staff of former Daimler CEO Jürgen Schrempp, and subsequently held the position as executive assistant to the current CEO Dieter Zetscher until June 2006, and then since then he holds responsibility for global sales and marketing for Maybach, including product management, global marketing communications, and the showroom in Sindelfingen, which of course is called the Center of Excellence of Maybach. Welcome, Patrick Marinoff. And on your left side, to my right side, is the creative director, marketing strategist Rudolph Schuermann. He contributes a long-standing experience from top international advertising agencies, where he started as copywriter and moved on to hold positions like executive creative director and managing director. He was the executive creative director of retailer MediaMarkt International in Munich. He was a jury member of the Cannes International Advertising Festival and was responsible for the Swiss Campaign of the Year in 2000. He won numerous awards from the Art Directors Club, the New York Advertising Festival, and many others. He studied visual communication, holds a master in graphic design, studied in Düsseldorf, and besides running Neutral, which he's going to talk about, and the work he's done for brands like Prindle of Scotland, he adds in his official biography information that he started his career as an artist. So it'd be very interesting to talk to you about this, the start and then moving into advertising as well. Welcome, Rudolph Schuermann. So the next 60 minutes will be about talking about the relationship between the fine arts and branding. But before we get into talking to each other, the three panelists will each give you sort of an impression of what they do and what they think about it and what they do in their everyday lives for about 5 to 8 minutes. And we'll be starting off with Rudolph.
Okay, thank you. Hello, grüezi miteinander. As we said, we started our agency bringing together advertising, brand building and contemporary art some 10 years ago. And there is a change of paradigm. Nowadays, people understand, client understands what we deliver. and certain things drastically changed in the world. First of all, we have a pictorial turn. More and more information is about the image, not about the word. Then we have a new lead culture, a Leitkultur, which is bildende Kunst, maybe together with architecture. And at the moment, and I think for the next 10 or 15 years, the contemporary art will be strong and stronger. The artists are working professional, and for us it's the same thing if you work together with our art directors or with artists actually. So I would like to show you some example for a campaign for Pringle of Scotland, which was a sad hooligan brand some 10 years ago. You know, just right-wing hooligans were proudly showing off their Pringle logos. And Pringle went through different hands, and it belongs now to a Hong Kong family. And we had to rebuild this brand from scratch. Not we alone, of course.
How did you get rid of the hooligans?
Pringle delivered a fashion show, a whole fashion collection. Not only the T-shirts and the trademark Pringle pieces, but a very professional collection of fashion for ladies and gentlemen. And they were producing these shows for the international high fashion market, and they spent a lot of money turning around this. And the communication was to change it from the hooligans to a more appropriate crowd. We work together with artists, and we go for the roots of Pringle, for the Scottish roots. Even though most of their wear is produced, maybe not again in Hawick, Scotland, but also in Korea. Okay. Well, in advance of the Zeitgeist, this is the second element why art or artists are so important, because they deliver this fluidum of this very, it's almost nothing. But you can feel it, this being ahead of the contemporary, culture, of the contemporary trends. So an artist, because he's working maybe for the last 10 years in his, in his kingdom, he delivers images which are right in a way, which are maybe thought a bit in advance. So first we see the film about Pringle of Scotland. It's a corporate film to show everyone it's changed.
Some call them sweaters, some call them jumpers. I call them jumpers. We've been making jumpers here in Scotland for nearly 200 years, which is quite a long time. And we also make cardigans. The thing you have to remember about Scotland is that it rains a lot. It rains all the time. It totally does your head in if you're not used to it. Our jumpers are made from wool. Some of the wool is from lambs and some is from goats. We like to take the wool from the belly with the goats because the rest of it gets really manky. Manky wool is no good to us because we've got really high standards. Then we take the wool to our factory and we pick the beasties off it. And then we give it a good wash to get all the filth out. Then we make it into yarn. Then the yarn gets put onto bobbins, and the bobbins get put onto bobbin trees, and all the bobbins start spinning. And this is the beginning of the jumper making process. In the olden days, before we had the machine, we had old ladies sitting there knitting all the jumpers and cardigans by hand. But nowadays, we make about 700 billion jumpers and cardigans a day. And if an old lady tried to knit that many, her hands would catch fire and she'd die. Anyway, before you start the machine going, you have to have a design. Design is really very important. Everything needs to have a design. Things that aren't designed look all ramshackle. When we have a new lot of jumpers and cardigans, we put on a fashion show to show them off. The models are horribly skinny like skeletons. I don't know why they have to be so thin. Personally, I'd like to see a normal shaped lassie modelling them with a big bottom and a nice pair of hooters. Or a good solid young man like my son Gerald. Get him off the stage. But they won't let him model them because he's only got one eye and he's an alcoholic.
Now get off me, you fat git. Leave us alone.
But we always get good write-ups in the magazines because they all know how good we are and how rubbish everyone else is. And how probably everyone else should be banned from making jumpers. And they can just make socks. Because they're crap.
Okay, this was with artist David Wrigley. You must know him, he's a genius. And to work out the story and to work it out with the Pringle manager was great fun. And the fashion people just loved this film, and so Pringle got started.
And you also had a hooligan in there as well.
Yeah, we had her son, hooligan and alcoholic, of course. Of course, this was a new Bond Street, POS material, everything. On the other hand, we shooted the campaign with artists again to have the heritage, mostly Scottish. And we have Tilda Swinton as a model. We still have her. We just shooted the campaign this weekend with David Benjamin Jerry in Ticino, in south of Switzerland. This was the first shoot. This is Douglas Gordon, the Scottish artist. It was a fantastic, we shoot it in an old castle without heating and everything, and the drinking started at 11 in the morning, but the result was fantastic. And Pringle was on the map. This was in glass. This was the shooting we did last winter with Walter Pfeiffer, the Swiss artist and photographer. And the strategy is, because if you're not in the Vogue, if Vogue is not writing about your brand, you're crap. And we always design a product. This is called 195. And we do the designs with the artists. And we push it. It's a very high market. One jumper costs about 2,000 quid, 2,000 pounds. And it gets the public, the PR we need. So generally spoken, this is the benches we designed by this young artist here, which I think is just fantastic. And the bags for the people who look at the Pringle show. It's Liam Gillick, of course. And the result was excellent. The press, we have 2 books like that of all press articles. Cutting edge design and media blitz, just look at fusty old Pringle now. So the image was changed and they're now writing black numbers for the first time. So the fashion industry is interested in the art because of the intellectuality. And the art is interested in working with fashion because of the sex, because of the sexual attraction fashion brands have.
Art is always, in a way, in advance of the zeitgeist. And if I think back in the 80s, the cynicism we had in art is now characteristic of politics. In the 90s, even in Switzerland, we had very positive energies, Pipi Lottirist and so on, no more taboos, a highly integrated entertainment factor. And for example, Jason Rhodes he made the life of his sex in form of a disco. I think if the artist uses this kind of thing and it's his own, and it's corresponding to his character, so you feel it's really energetic, it's honest, it's everything what you like, at this moment, why not? I mean, we have to stay open to every form of appearance of creativity.
More and more, our products become real, living, interactive elements in our lives. Whether they're a car, which knows where you've been all day, or your telephone, which knows everything about you, or the internet that you log on to and suddenly somebody else has access to everything that you thought was safe and secure at home. The idea of trust, that design can promote this, I think this is one of the most important issues in providing an atmosphere of safety, an atmosphere of reassurance.
Remember, everyone needs to be cool to sell something cool. Where's my mobile? I need to be in touch constantly with people all over the world. Thank you, Sunrise. Sunrise Mobile broadband card. Where's my bloody mobile?
Malcolm McLaren, the inventor of punk, became an artist. We worked together with him for 10 years, and he died. He made this change from manager, from production manager, producer is always looking at bands and so on. He became an artist, and sadly he died now. And before we had Chris Bennell about the idea of design.
And the guy with the beard that we heard first was, of course, the famous Swiss curator Harald Seemann.
In the 20s, he was the Ausstellungsmacher, the most important Ausstellungsmacher in the world of art. I would say in the world of the image. It's Harald Seemann, the Ausstellungsmacher of the 20th century. And his idea about the artists being in advance of the zeitgeist, being a bit more trendy than advertising, for example, normally is or newspapers, is very
Glad we
interesting.
didn't mention magazines.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Rudolph. And now it's off to Patrick, telling us about what Maybach is doing with the arts.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome on behalf of Maybach. It's great for us to show you from the corporate side a way how brands, and ultra-luxury brands, and art can be combined. Well, first of all, maybe I familiarize you a little bit with the brand positioning of the Maybach brand. For God's sake, it has never been a hooligan brand.
It's not that you didn't have any problems, though.
No, of course not. Some of my best friends, no, actually. As some of you might have reckoned, the brand positioning of Maybach, it's all about superlatives. So we do follow the maxim of the founder of the Maybach brand, which is Wilhelm Maybach. And at the beginning of the 20th century, when he was asked, what is Maybach about? He said, Maybach is about to create only the very best from the very best. So therefore, this is still true today. So we strive for the ultimate in excellence, in luxury, in comfort, and in customer orientation. We are positioned in the ultra-luxury sedan segment, meaning that a Maybach car starts at 340,000 euros net of tax, going up to around about 1 million for the Maybach Landau Ley. We capture around about 25% of the global luxury sedan market, and we reached also benchmark positions in terms of brand image and strength in Germany, and very important, of course, in the fastest growing automotive market of the world, in China. So, what do we do in terms of marketing communication? Of course, art, the reason for being here today and talk to you about our engagement with contemporary art. Then culture and lifestyle, we are focusing on promoting and sponsoring yachting events, classic car events, famous parties, for example, at the Cannes Film Festival. Then sports, and very important also the charity aspect. the mentoring program of the Wilhelm and Karl Maybach Foundation, very closely linked also to our engagement in art. So, what is our art engagement about? It is based on 3 pillars. First, we do cooperate with internationally renowned artists, for example, like David LaChapelle, or currently it is Julian Schnabel. And the approach is that we try to build a very personal relationship with those artists. And it's not about commissioning work, it is about really trying to get the artist to be a part of the brand story. And this has worked very well until this point. Second, we do support international renowned art institutions. For example, Maybach is the only and the first automotive partner of the Louvre in Paris. We are partnering with Fondation Bayerle in Basel and also the Serpentine Gallery in London. And as I said before, mentoring program of the Wilhelm and Karl Maybach Foundation. Every artist we work with has a mentee he is taking care of. So why are we doing this? Of course, to raise the brand awareness and to give Maybach a definitely more modern and contemporary image. And so this is maybe the main reason for engaging also into contemporary art and not, for example, into old masters. But let's see this little video and I will explain it in a little bit more detail.
Art stands for creativity of men. Individual masterpieces, sublime and unique. Ever since, the Maybach brand has stood for excellence and uniqueness. Therefore, Maybach and art form a natural combination. We cooperate with leading artists like Julian Schnabel or David LaChapelle. Outstanding personalities with exciting creations. Maybach supports outstanding platforms in the art world. Institutions like the Louvre in Paris, or great events like the St. Moritz Art Masters. We are right there where art is really happening. Great talents, but unfortunately, too often, too few opportunities. Thus, together with the Wilhelm and Karl Maybach Foundation, we are promoting the talents of today for the art of tomorrow. Unique excellence created by the hand of man. Maybach and art, a perfect symbiosis.
So, Maybach has been active in the field of art since the very beginning. In 2005 we had a great big project together with Christo and Jean-Claude called The Gates in New York. And now let me introduce our current project together with Julian Schnabel. So this is more or less the start of our journey with Julian, a very interesting personality. And as I said, we're trying to build personal relationships. Therefore, we invited him to come to Stuttgart. And this is also some example of a before and after view on a project. So this is a car which has been used for testing the armory of a Maybach. So it has around about 200 bullet holes in it, and Julian saw it and immediately wanted to do something with it. But first, we did something together in Miami during Art Basel Miami Beach in the year 2010. So he did a sculpture for us called Creequack, the Maybach sculpture. We presented it in Miami for the first time that the Frank Gehry World Symphony building has been opened. And also at this evening 4 pictures of Julian Schnabel were auctioned in the favor of the foundation from Sean Penn for Haiti, and we raised over $1 million on that evening, showing you again the very close connection of art and charity we are trying to bring together. Next big step this summer during the Venice Biennale, it was more or less opening the Venice Biennale, the exhibition of Julian Schnabel in the Museo Correa, right at Piazza San Marco. Outside, we again had our sculpture presented. And this is the after picture. So he took the car, painted on it, wrote names of women that he spent some time with, and shares some nice rememberings maybe. And as you can see, the car has been painted on by Julian Schnabel, but the windows have been done by this young man called Vahag Aslanian. So he is together with Julian in the Maybach mentoring program, and Vahag has done the windows of the car. And part of our mentoring program is also a major exhibition for our young artists. So therefore the first solo exhibition from Vahag was this year at the St. Moritz Art Masters. So you see here, it's called Ghost of a Plane. Vahag works very much with glass, so these are broken windows from plane crashes actually. So this was a big step forward for Vahag, because it was definitely, by the help of Maybach, his first solo exhibition. Of course, we had the car also there, and after having it presented in Venice on a floating pontoon, so the car was driving around the canals in Venice on sea level, we thought the next step should definitely be bring it up on a mountain top. So therefore, we presented in the mountains of the Engadine at the St. Moritz Art Masters. So all of this has created a great press for us. Therefore, it has to 100% met our targets in terms of raising the brand awareness. You also see that the event in Miami has been ranked the second best party of the Art Basel. Last year we were a little bit disappointed because the year before we were rated by the New York Times together with David LaChapelle the best party of Art Basel Miami, but definitely we're working on this again for the future. How do we use it? Together with stepping up our engagement in contemporary art, we also definitely modernized our approach also to digital and social media. So we have a new web page. We have a Facebook page. We are there on Twitter. Have a web special about our art engagement. We use also classical advertising, but maybe the campaign is a little bit different. You see here we have a picture of Julian in the car, but it's turned upside down. And of course, it's not only creating access to new customer groups for Maybach, but we also give this special access to our artists and to those art institutions, to our customers. So you see the customer book, and we also have for our customers kind of a magazine called Pieces of Art, and I think we have some of those for you if you are interested to have a closer look.
But there's only 3 of them, so yeah.
I think we have some more.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The 3 are for
just taking a look at these. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Patrick. And now, so we heard so much about perspective with working with artists from advertising on the brand side. But now let's hear something from an artist himself, from Andreas. And I'm very happy that he's here, although he has a terrible cold. So we're very happy that you made your way.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Andreas Muehe. I'm here from Berlin, and yeah, I got my invitation for this day yesterday, and
you got the cold immediately after.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's easier for me to speak German right now.
Oh, your English is perfect.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, did we start with the photos? Yeah, I'm here for Christian Boros. He is still not here, and I made one book with him together the last, I think, 3 months ago, and I never met him before, so that's why I'm here again. I don't know.
He's a ghost in your personal life.
For sure, but he did make a great book together, and the thing is, ohne, sagen wir mal, gewisse kommerzielle Aspekte im Leben oder in der Kunst sind gewisse Sachen nicht mehr möglich. Also es reicht nicht mehr aus, nur einen Verleger zu haben für so ein Buch, sondern man braucht auch dann Sponsoren. Wir haben da mit einigen Marken wie Patek Philippe oder Sapinda zusammengearbeitet. Insofern ist es sehr hilfreich, Kunst und März zusammenzukriegen.
So it's not easy for an artist to work without the sort of commercial support of big brands to do
yes,
projects
and
like this.
make things like this happen. That's because we need some cash flow. And ich will kurz erzählen, also ich bin ein klassischer Fotograf, habe angefangen Fotolaborant, 2 Jahre assistiert, habe mich 2010 selbstständig gemacht und bin dann einen Weg gegangen über Porträts, über Werbung, war 5 Jahre bei meinem Ex-Agenten Schürke, Frau Helga Schürke, und wollte dann irgendwie freier werden. Also es ging immer darum, einen eigeneren Weg zu finden, eine Sprache zu finden, und habe mich dann dem Editorial zugewandt, dank der Zeit oder der Monopol, und es gab die Vanity Fair vor ein paar Jahren hier, es gab die Park Avenue, also ab 2007 war das, glaube ich, ungefähr, gab es einen unheimlichen Run hier in Berlin und alles war möglich. Und
so just to sum it up a little bit, you started off as a commercial photographer, then you sort of you were looking for some more inner freedom to work sort of more creatively, so you went into the editorial business and worked for many German magazines since then, and you made your mark by photographing, doing photos for editorial spreads.
Yeah. And then I got a big exhibition 2010 at Gallery Camera Work, and that was the start for me to, I don't know, es war auf einmal alles möglich danach, es war Geld da, um frei zu arbeiten.
The money was there, cash flow
yes,
was there.
Yes, cash flow was there, and I got my big chance to do my own work. But the other side was, in the first half year, nobody was calling me, no magazine, no nothing, no agency.
Not even Maybach?
No, nobody. Everybody was thinking, oh, he got enough, so it's okay. Diese Ausstellung hat es halt möglich gemacht, freier zu arbeiten, und ja, so geht es weiter. Das sind jetzt, some of these pictures are from the last 10 years. It's also Gerhard Richter, it's 2002, I think. It was after a Monopol shooting, he asked me if I can take a picture for the new catalog in Japan. And it's some new pictures. It was also for the ZeitMagazin. It's about two really close friends. And yeah, that's some new works from the Obersalzberg in Berchtesgaden.
You have to say something about the picture, because I think it's too small to see the
It's too small. It's a series called The Pissing Nazi, and I was 2 weeks ago, we was in Los Angeles, and I have shown it on the art platform LA. Yeah, I think you'll see some more next year. Yeah, that's what I do right now. Then was one idea also. Christoph told us about politics, and I've done a lot of jobs in the politics.
You portray Angela Merkel quite a lot.
Yes, and it's also a story about Angela Merkel. It's never published, it's only published in this book here. That's when we was flying to Washington DC, and she got the Medal of Honor from Barack Obama. It's a story without any Obama pictures. It's still on the highway. It's foreign minister. Yes, shortly before. Cameron, it's the list, or it's where the people has to stand. And then the big final is coming.
That's the German delegation.
That's the whole German delegation, and that's the funny reason, or the funny, I don't know. That's the German delegation, and that comes so great things together.
You see German TV host Thomas Gottschalk standing.
Klinsmann, Diekmann, Ulrich. On the left side, Mr. Westerwelle. And it's, I think, art, politics can come together. Yeah, kann einen zum Lächeln bringen. Yeah.
Thank you, Andreas.
That's it.
Thank you. We've heard so much about the nice things of arts and artists and brands working together, and we've just seen a picture of Gerhard Richter. You made your mark, one of your marks, because you created a campaign for Graubünden. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the collaboration or non-collaboration you had with Helmut Kohl, the then German Chancellor, and also Gerhard Richter.
Yes, it was a funny coincidence. I did the Graubünden holiday part of Switzerland campaign, which ran their campaign in the Spiegel. And the headline was Warum Wolfgang, Herr Bundeskanzler, because he went on holiday to the Wolfgangsee of Austria, our enemies of course, and he wanted to attract him to...
He went there every summer, the Germans know, it's like every summer for 20 years.
Summer. I'm sure he's still is going there on holiday, you know, in a little, very small hotel and with their goats. And
you did this campaign?
Yeah, we did a lot of, you know, very nice sushis, and because Gerhard Richter was my professor when I studied painting in Düsseldorf, I called him after I went to advertising. Hey, we would like to have you for an advertising for Graubünden, and he loves Graubünden. He stays there in Engiadina almost every year, and he had an exhibition at Sils Maria, where he did photographies of landscapes of Graubünden, mountains, sky, snow, rocks, fantastic. And he just splashed a bit drippings, you know, color, oil color on these photos. And I wanted to have just an oil, oil on Graubünden as a picture and as a headline, Öl auf Graubünden, Gerhard Richter. And he said, first he said, well, are you sure, and will it be good, what do you write? And I had to write it. Okay, yeah, well, go ahead, how many would see it, and so on. And he said yes, and then he said no before print, about 2 weeks before print. This was...
How did you react when he said no?
No problems, you cannot do anything. If Gerhard said no, it was niet. And you know Gerhard Richter, you know Roman Signer, for example, or Fischli Weiss.
The Swiss artist.
Yeah, the Swiss artist. Signer is this explosive guy, you know, there are explosions everywhere, and that's his work, you know, he brings he explodes everything. And he's from a generation, you know, and the art, when I studied art as well, is in this Elfenbeinturm. They don't want to mingle with money and marketing, you know. Artists earn a lot of money. They normally earn more money than the photographers, and this changed drastically too. And now this is going very quickly to change, and we work a lot with Signer, for example.
Also, Fischli Weiss, you told me when we had a telephone chat before, that they do a lot of marketing. They have to use a lot of marketing tools to find out what is working out and what isn't. Is that true?
Well, I would say the work of Fischli Weiss, they work with sense of they made their career in the 80s. They made it with irony, they made it a bit on a perspective, on a critical perspective, but on a very humorous perspective as well. Towards the, you know, the world of money and the normal world of business. And they do self-marketing in a way which is very professional. Nowadays, you know, every artist has to do a campaign, they have to do a proper positioning, they work like brands, you know. And when you see, one time was creative director of Saatchi in Switzerland, and you know the Saatchi brothers, when they got bored of advertising, they started collecting art. And when Saatchi, Maurice and Charles are pushing art, they pushed it like they pushed their brands and their advertising company. They just had the idea, okay, Britain is fantastic, Britain is pop, Britain is in the pop culture #1, but not in the contemporary art. The field of contemporary art, we do it now. They label it pop, Brit pop. Also Tony Blair was campaigning, well, Brit pop rules the world.
He still could campaign at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And he was selecting creative talents, Tracy Amend and so on. You know them all. And he bought this work very cheaply. And he made exhibitions, and he made this movement become a big success. And you know Damien Hirst. And this change of paradigm, that now British children, suddenly, the more, the better educated, of course. British children, most of them, they don't want to be a pop rock star anymore, or footballer. Oh, I want to become an artist. That's funny.
Yeah. Patrick, now you've mentioned you worked with David LaChapelle in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
And you were on the set the day you did the shooting. How did it go along?
Well, actually, it was. There are always, and that's what we had in our telephone call before. If you do something completely new to a brand, there are also some risks, because you have to also bring this up to your board of management and saying, okay, this is the way we want to go. And our approach with our artists is to give them really the freedom to do what they want, because we are the supporters of the art, we are not the censors. This is a risk in itself, of course. So how are we trying to handle this? We are trying to bring him, we are introduced by somebody that is trusted by the artist. So we have a Maybach art curator that already knows the people. Then we try to bring him to Stuttgart to show them the heart of the brand. And
How did David LaChapelle react when you told him you have to come to Stuttgart?
Stuttgart, yeah. So actually, it was in Miami in 2009 we met him because he had an exhibition in Miami. The manager invited us to come to Paris to the Muehe exhibition of David. And we've been there, and from there on, we've been in the VIP room until 6 o'clock in the morning together.
What did you do there until 6 o'clock in the morning?
We discussed about art and positioning.
Deep discussions.
Deep discussions, okay, yeah, of course. And so the next morning we said, okay, just step into the plane and come to Stuttgart. And his manager actually took him under his arm, more or less. And but as soon as he arrived in Stuttgart and saw the Maybach manufacture and the cars and the Center of Excellence, which is really the heart of the Maybach brand, he immediately got visions what to do. And it was very important for us to see that he was really engaging with the brand. And as soon as we have this point, we have to trust. So now coming back to your original question, it was 8 o'clock in the morning in LA, the studio. So there were around about 100 people on the set, and it all looked very easy. So we said, okay, let's go out and have another meeting, and we came back 6 hours later, and I saw 60 naked people.
6-0.
6-0. And they would, you know, the set was a New Year's Eve party in Berlin at the year 1932. So some very rich people inside, some very poor people outside, and Maybach crashing through the wall. Very interesting setup.
You were seeing these 60 naked people.
And they were all fully in action.
Right.
And David
fully
was,
in action?
Yeah, not what you think, maybe. But so the set was already there. And I briefly said goodbye to my job.
There's a famous German expression for saying when you work at Daimler, and you had this German, what was the German phrase you had?
The German phrase when you work at Daimler?
No, when you said it was nice beim Daimler.
Yeah, it was nice. Es war schön beim Daimler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, 10 years might also be enough. But we had to take that risk, because we have definitely to be aware of small budgets, awareness problems of the Maybach brand, especially in the United States. So choose an American artist and do things that create awareness. And on the same side, do good things to the brand to bring it in a more contemporary, modern way, or modern positioning, because you will never be more traditional than other competitors which are there in the market for a very long time. So we have to build on the technology of the car, that it is more advanced than others. and also build the brand's image in a contemporary, modern way. So I think I had no chance. I had to take the risk, and I'm still there.
Andreas, we've heard so much about the chances between, collaborations between artists and brands. You as an artist, what is the danger?
Danger.
Or is there a danger?
Come too close together with the commercial things. Du musst dein eigenes Ding trotzdem weitermachen. Also, wie Patrick gerade schon gesagt hat, ist die Freiheit zu bekommen, alles zu machen oder damit mit dem Risiko umzugehen als große Firma, das ist eigentlich, also das muss man erwarten können. Man darf auf keinen Fall irgendwie Gesetze oder irgendwelche Richtlinien bekommen, damit so ein Joint Venture funktioniert.
So the brand has to give you the creative freedom, but that's an easy thing to say. I suppose it's more difficult practice, right?
Anything happens. So, yeah.
Would you? I mean, if a brand like Maybach would ask you to
I don't know, maybe Cabrio or something. Yeah, I think everything is possible to do with a car. So,
what was it like working with Julian Schnabel and your reaction when he said, "Well, I want the car with the bullet holes in"?
It is more or less the same feeling like in LA. So this is a car. Presenting a car which has been shot on 200 times. It is not that you would like to show your product in perfect condition anytime. It has to be perfect, the light has to be right, everything nice, the best, everything, every feature any you can get. And this car is damaged, it's broken more or less. But after having Julian being fascinated with it and doing something with the car, it has evolved, so it's no longer a car. It is something that an artist has turned from a car into an art piece. And of course, things like this, having David LaChapelle taking the pictures of a car and putting it into his real work. So he takes the pictures and uses them in his own exhibition. So it's part of his work. It's not a commission. He wanted to do it. And the same goes for Julian. So he really accepts it as a part of his work. And this is what we're really striving for.
How do you explain
tradition work together artists and cars? Everyone.
How do you explain to your people at Mercedes-Benz that you're using a Maybach with bullet holes in?
Actually, the way to make it happen is you don't.
So you just keep it for yourself. And
you know, the good thing about art is that to a certain point of time, even members of the board of management of Daimler AG don't dare to argue with an artist, because this is something, you know, you have to accept that this is on another level. So it's not corporate, it is art. And who is the customer, or let's say the brand is not the one to decide what is art and what is not. So this is about the public and the critics. And as we have shown the car for the first time in Venice and had various press articles about now a damaged car turned into an art piece and now worth whatever, of course I was very lucky because this is what I needed. So if there would have been articles about what are those crazy guys doing, so this is all crap, and the next meeting with the board of management might have been less nice. But it's not working with a small brand, actually, small budgets, as I said before. If we don't take risk with it, and we have to change a lot and make the awareness of the brand much bigger. And that's why I take also the personal risk first.
Rudolph, is it, you mentioned before that it's easier to work with artists than with art directors or creative directors. Why is that?
Well, I don't see this, you know, this Berlin Wall between commercialism and art, because there is none. The art world is is a very commercial place. Zurich, for example, I live in Zurich, is number 3 in the world as a Handelsdrehscheibe. And
trading point.
As a trading point, yeah. After New York, and already Shanghai is strong. Art is very commercial, and artists are commercial as well, and there is no gap. Why we work with artists is just because you can plan more, you can work more precisely on what you want next to the perfect image. You can plan it better because an artist normally works in 1 or 2 directions. Of course, he's influenced by trends as well. And if you look at the art scene, you have to smile sometimes if you walk through an art fair like in Miami or in Basel. You see, okay, who started the trend first? You can, because there are not so many artists, maybe 10,000 artists under the radar, commercially successful artists. You exactly see, okay, this is a genuine idea, as this is coming deep from his soul, his character, and the way he started to do these images, to getting his personality into this, makes it very easy for us to choose a collaboration with an artist. Okay, we exactly want you, because this is why I say you can plan it much more precise.
How would you react when the artist says, okay, let's do something, we agree on a contract, and then comes up with something totally different, because he has the freedom of an artist?
He has not the freedom of an artist, and there is no freedom of art.
There's no freedom of art?
No, because there is no freedom anyway. And
Andreas, what do you think about this? Let me know, please. It depends? On what?
I don't know. So it's the easy Maybach way, or working together with the agency. I think that's der schönere Teil, sozusagen, so eine große Freiheit zu bekommen. Ansonsten, man muss immer Unterschiede machen und muss immer Abstriche machen, natürlich in der Agentur.
So if you work with an agency, you have to make differences? Or
Yeah. But,
he's nodding. So.
Ja, ich denke, es ist einfacher, mit jemandem zu wissen, der eine Vision hat und sich auch nicht an eine Agentur verkaufen muss. Ich glaube, da ist schon der Gedanke richtig, dass es einfacher ist, mit einem Künstler zusammenzuarbeiten und auch jemanden für ein Produkt zu nehmen, weil er das gut kann. Und nicht mit einem Dienstleister, der sozusagen alles ein bisschen anbietet. Ich glaube, da ist so der Ansatz von, es kommen 2 gleiche Strategen da zusammen, die einen Weg gehen können.
I think the most horrible thing for an artist is, if we talk about freedom, is not the advertising agency, which I say, hey look, we have this campaign, we have this idea, and we want you to do images who look like models with, and so on. The parameters are clear, and he said, okay, well, yes, let's do it. And for him, and many very famous artists, they're much more comfortable working on a commercial production like that than doing the normal business, the normal rat race for an artist to produce free works. What do you mean by free works? The gallerist says, okay, now I want to have your exhibition next spring. You have to deliver work which sells, and if he's not selling his pieces, he's going to have problems. Working with an agency, it's easy, you know.
Because the money comes first.
Yeah.
Andreas, what do you think about it?
It's just as a last. I think the art you're working. You know, we see now a big division between, you know, is this art and is this just normal photography? This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's just a trend we're in at the moment that contemporary art, maybe architecture, is sort of Leitkultur, this ugly word. And I'm sure in 10 years' time, it's completely different, or maybe 15 years' time. Then we will have a more holistic perspective on how we, you know, we do images about ourselves, about the society, about the things we love, and about the things we don't. You know.
Es gibt immer zwei Wege, um an ein Ziel zu kommen. Es gibt Leute, die brauchen den Auftrag, und es gibt Leute, die können aus dem freien Weg arbeiten. Und ich meine, FC Gundlach hat mal gesagt, es ist scheißegal, wie jetzt im Thema Fotografie, wie ein Bild entsteht. Hauptsache es ist gut, und dann ist es egal, ob es Kunst oder ob freie Arbeit oder Advertisement ist.
Yeah.
Ich glaube, es gibt einen Unterschied noch. Ich glaube, also einfach nur so, man kann aber nicht irgendwo hingehen und seine Arbeiten zeigen und sich stolz hinstellen und dann am Ende noch sagen, ach so, das ist das, was ich frei mache, das ist meine Kunst.
So the
Also man
artist
sollte im Gesamten sozusagen hinter einer Sache stehen und alles so durch.
So the artist shouldn't make a difference between his so-called commercial work and the other work, because it's not a, you don't see a difference.
Yeah.
How was it like for you working with artists? Because you mentioned before that you're not going to, you know,
I think we have a
different freedom.
We have a different approach. We are really doing this for image reasons, and therefore we don't have a plan for a campaign and look for an artist. We have a general master plan to engage or bring Maybach and contemporary art closer together. I think there are three main reasons or advantages to give the artist the freedom. First, I think it's much cheaper.
Andreas is laughing now.
Because if you give an
big car campaign.
If you give
just give us a sort of a number, just to have the abstract, just to get the abstract idea of.
I would say it's
generally, not speaking about Maybach, but generally.
Generally, I can only speak about Maybach. I would say it's in terms of when I talk about David LaChapelle. If you manage to have David LaChapelle without a fee for his work, but just pay part of the production cost of a shoot, that is definitely much cheaper than having it done with David. That's the plan, that's your check, do it. So, first of all, very easy, but this is not the main reason. I would say if you want to connect your brand with art, you have to take the art as it is. Because it's like, if you change it too much, it's not authentic anymore. Therefore, that's the main reason, and we got the experience that if you give the artist the freedom, he's really into it. He wants to do it. He takes time to visit you. He comes to events without asking for anything. It's just like we're together in a project, and it is also much more fun this way.
Artists are normal creatives, and we treat them just as that, but you're right, of course, an artist has a bonus. He has a PR value, of course, and it's interesting that art has no problems, art and brands. We're talking maybe a bit more specifically about branding processes. If you are on the top level like Maybach, then there are more brands who are working with artists than in the mid-segment. This is an easy thing, because nowadays it's not enough that you have your collection of Ferraris and your houses everywhere and your golden I don't know what. If you want to be sociable in circles who are a bit above the plebs, then you have to collect art, of course. If you're not collecting art, you're a nerd.
And engage in charity, and you have to be active in charity.
And charity, of course, yes. If you're American, then you have to, yes, you have to give something back. That's correct, absolutely. And interesting is also, you know, this erotic thing, which you showed very well with David LaChapelle. You know, this brings a certain, you know, erotic glamour to a brand. You know, you mentioned Miami. And this is interesting if you look, it's not an artist, but I'm sure he's, you know, Rem Koolhaas, the architect. Rem Koolhaas had a love affair with Muehe Prada.
Professionally?
No, not professionally. A real love affair. Almost everyone knows, you know, it's a hidden.
I'm just asking. Are you sure that everyone knows? Okay. Well, maybe now.
This love affair between Muehe Prada. Prada is an important brand. It's an important brand for the pop culture of the 90s. It was a fundamental. It's not so important nowadays, but it still is. You know, a hot brand. I would say in Japan, it's a hot brand definitely. And you know, if you see the flagship store of Muehe Prada in New York and in Tokyo by Rem Koolhaas, and if you also see this relationship, this love affair between the two, then it says a lot about that artists are very, very sociable, very sexy, and their work is their pictures are very strong.
Our relationships end at a certain point.
I was just going to ask you. You had a feeling. Patrick, you've talked about the 65 million unique users you had with the David LaChapelle campaign and PR effect you had. How do you turn these, for a brand like Maybach, how do you turn this enormous massive people into unique buyers?
Actually, no. The traditional way of doing ultra-luxury marketing is do not care about the public at all. Have very small, intimate events, meet the potential customer eye to eye, and try to get him in a car and have him buy it. This works for totally established brands.
Like Rolls-Royce, Bentley. I'm just mentioning a few brands,
for example.
Yeah.
But you have to come on the shopping list first, and therefore every customer that buys a vehicle at 500,000 euros and above wants to be sure that when he drives up to the valet parking, everybody knows what's coming. And so therefore you need the customers, and you need also the public that applauds. And therefore you need to also address a wider public with your messages, and therefore
us, basically.
Yeah.
You and me looking at this Maybach passing by.
Yeah. And looking at it
and realizing it is a Maybach.
And don't they cooperate with Julian Schnabel? So they are cool. So it's not old-fashioned. It is something like they're going a different way. Even they are in the ultra-luxury segment, but our customers are getting younger, especially in upcoming markets like China, Korea.
What does younger mean?
Younger means that they are still in their 40s.
Okay.
If you look at Europe, sometimes you look at people more or less in their 60s, 70s. They were very successful. They sold their businesses, and now they say, "Now I buy a Maybach." In the upcoming economies, people are still in their daily business. So they're doing their business. They're 40 years, 45 years. And they are connecting, they're interested in contemporary art, because that's what they want to do. They want to be in different, interesting places, meet the artists, because with the old masters, it's sometimes difficult to meet a Rembrandt on an event. So therefore, that's what they want to do. They want to have the access also to the artist. And so therefore, that's why we're doing it.
Andreas is thinking about, is he choosing a Maybach convertible? Not convertible.
Happens to me today when I was driving through the Potsdamer Platz. I've seen the black Maybach.
It was Patrick. You had a feeling.
Yeah,
and you were right.
Oh, he's the one who comes to the bookshop and it works.
Yeah, it works good. Wonderful.
Did it work for you?
What, Maybach as a brand?
Yeah. Or you as an advertising
that's a
agency?
nasty question.
would you have anything to say about how Maybach is doing it?
Well, I've just seen, you know,
You have the freedom to answer. You have the freedom to answer.
Thank you, sir. Maybach is crap. No, Maybach, I don't see much about Maybach. I know their troubles, and I know you have a very, very tough job in this segment with a brand new brand. Since when is Maybach on the market? Still 15 years or 10 years. It's still brand new, and it's a tough way in this segment. And I didn't see a lot of advertising, and I just I've seen at the St. Moritz Art Days a month ago, 6 weeks ago. I have felt the presence of Maybach, but I cannot remember what exactly.
That's good. Actually.
Yeah, that's definitely good. But
how did you do it?
Absolutely.
What did you do there?
Oh, we presented the car.
Right.
Also on the mountaintop, we had it down at the Kempinski Hotel. It was next to the exhibition from Oaxaca. And we had an art walk. So we had a Mercedes-Benz evening, and there was the way from the 250 meters where we enrolled all our art engagements in big pictures.
But total wrong allocation. I mean, the Kempinski is definitely below the brand image you want to attract, because the Kempinski is a Neureichen hotel.
But the rest of St. Moritz is Russian hotel.
Yeah, a lot of Russians and Norwegians, sometimes Russians and Norwegians are the same.
The Kolmar, the palace, they have no world heritage, and of course a lot of Russians too.
Now, I think if you're interested in asking the three panelists question, Janet will be here with a microphone, so you just raise your hand and Janet will be coming over to you. It's always the first one is always the most difficult, so I'm just trying to figure out if someone has a question.
Hello there. I just have one question. I was with my class here because I am a rep and I'm working since many years also with commercial and art together. We represent Urban Boom since 2002, and we work also with friends. And I see that now it's getting very, very strong. What about the connection with art and commercial? I would be very interested to know from Maybach why. I mean, because you are. The brand is quite new in the market. Why are you going in that way? What is the point to involve the art, seriously art?
Contemporary?
A contemporary art into your brand. It would be just, I'm curious. I mean, I know the way, but just would like to know from your point of view.
We have chosen contemporary art. Art itself, it is a unique creation of a person that's making up his mind and is creating something. Our cars are also, they're all made by hand, so they are it's not a mass product. So this is maybe the first connection to art. Why contemporary art? Maybach has a great tradition. It has been in the market from 1921 to 41 in the last century. I don't think many of them know that Maybach has been the #1 luxury brand in that point, in that period of time. So there has been a lack of history for 60 years. And therefore, you need a bigger awareness, and we think that contemporary art, so connecting with art, but in the art of today, because the Maybach is also a product of today, building on a big tradition, but it is today for today's customers. So this is the reason for going into contemporary art, and also to be on, let's say, on a marketing rationale. Contemporary artists are rock stars.
Andreas.
You are a rock star.
I'm from Berlin.
Everybody's a rock star in Berlin.
No, only the guys from Mitte.
Okay. So it's also about this thing that we want to connect with artists that create also awareness in a wider press.
It's because the awareness. So
yes, it is awareness and remodeling the, if you have an image of the Maybach brand before coming here, it is maybe different than having 100 naked people on a David LaChapelle set. Maybe this is not purely what Maybach is.
It was 60, half an hour ago, it was 60.
Yeah, the other 40s were dressed. Okay. The poor people were dressed and the rich ones were naked. I hope that answers a bit of your question.
And the last question is in comparison to the classical advertisement.
Yeah.
How is the relation, or how is the difference? I mean, do you get more awareness to the art, contemporary art, than the classical way, or?
Actually, we couldn't afford the same awareness with classical advertising because that would cost a tremendous money. What we're trying to do is create stories with artists that create the awareness of the press by multiplying those messages for us. We do still a little classical advertising, but also in for example, ZeitMagazin, interview, but these are not, you will not see a car in there. You will see the artists or the mentoring program, so it's a different approach. We really show the art and not the car.
Patrick, I have a question. Is it irritating for some customers? You work with contemporary art. Some maybe say, "Oh, this car's nice, but this art I don't like."
Well, it's again, of course there are mixed reactions, but I would say it's 95% positive also from the existing customer base. Because as I said before, it's also not easy to act as a real critic of art, because you put yourself in some kind of, if you're a collector and even if you're rich, who are you to say to Julian Schnabel, actually what you do is crap. So I think also part of the secret is you have to choose artists which are, let's say, in a league where everything they do, just if they break their cup of coffee in the morning,
so everything is cool.
Everything is cool. Yeah. So that's about, as has been said before, artists are brands, and brands can do a lot as long as they have found the trust of their customers. You can go quite a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. So I see no more questions from the audience. I have a last question for each of you, because we've talked so much about art, but sometimes in an abstract way. What's the last piece of art you've seen that really got you going? Maybe Rudolph.
The last piece of art. You ask the others first. I have to think about.
Andreas looked at me when I asked the questions like, "Don't ask me first." So I'm going for Patrick.
But I know I've seen a photo of Will McBride in my toilet this morning, so that's maybe.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's a difficult question for actually let's say, a marketing and a corporate guy.
Oh, no.
You have one. Then you go first. Thanks.
Okay, it was a sculpture by Bernhard Luginbühl, a big metal sculpture, who is positioned at the airport of Zurich.
Well, actually, the last piece of art I've really seen, because I just came from London, where we cooperate with the Serpentine Gallery, where we do sponsor the summer pavilion of the Serpentine Gallery. It's during some months in the summer they build up a pavilion, and this time it has been done by Peter Zumthor, a Swiss architect, and it is in Latin it's a hortus conclusus, so it's a garden in a garden. And it is a real calm place, and a place where people start to think about what's really meaningful in life. And I think that happened to me on that evening, because I spent there maybe too long because I had to go and give a speech, but still was in that garden. And so it worked.
Fantastic pavilion, huh?
Yeah.
I just would like to ask you, because we work together with the Serpentine Gallery a lot for maybe about 5 brands, about your experience with work. Do you work together with Hans Ulrich directly.
Yeah, also you bist decorator.
And yeah,
we do. It's like the Maybach art curator Rainer Opoku is also working with Mr. Obrist.
Yeah.
We're also with the director Jane Payton, is her name?
Julia Payton-Jones.
Okay, thanks very much.
They're the co-directors.
Yes, they're co-directors.
It's a chaos.
I think.
I was wondering what was behind your question.
No, but I think it's always a chaos. I think you said that the art world is professionalizing all the time. Just a little example. When we talked with the Louvre about having a picture of the car outside the pyramid, they said yes, but only for the press release. We said okay, only for the press release. That's fine. The day of the press conference came, we sent out a press release to 6,000 journalists worldwide, and the press department of the Louvre also had a press release. 40 pages, black and white, printed. That's what they gave to the journalists. 1 hour later, I got a contact. We have the picture on the internet. What happened with it? Yeah, we put it on our press release. Oh, we thought the press release is just that little paper. So, talking about chaos.
And also the digital and analog.
Digital analog.
World.
So they thought it's just 40 pages.
Just a handout.
On
paper.
Yeah. So we had the picture out, that was it, so that was okay for them. No, I think the Serpentine Gallery, I don't know if they were very customer oriented. So they have a marketing approach. So if other art institutions sometimes still are because they're state financed, but the Serpentine Gallery is opening a new facility, so they are looking for sponsors and they were working hard.
Yeah, that's maybe also because we really worked hard with them.
So they seem to got good training.
Yeah, but institutions are interesting too. They're not only artists, they're also institutions, because the institutions, they desperately need money to have their structure, to keep their structure working. You know, the state is investing less and less money because it cannot afford it. And the institutions like the Rubel family collections, we're working together in Miami and so on. And every museum, and this will be the trend of the future, you know, they have to work very closely together with charity, with brands,
So I suppose the next time we meet again and we talk about how this will develop within the state organizations like you just mentioned. Now Andreas, Muehe, Patrick Marinoff, Rudolph Schuermann, it was a pleasure sitting here listening to you. Thanks for staying and have a nice lunch.